Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM, kicking off your Memorial Day weekend. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, big smile on everybody's face. A lot of people having a day off and finally able to watch us live and enjoy us probably throughout the entire show today. So we got a lot going on in our community.
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, Tyler. Of course, we got a lot to talk about, some interesting people to talk to, events coming up. So we got a lot to share. Another day, another opportunity. What's up, Tyler?
Yeah, and it is a big day here in the greater West Bloomfield community as we get into Memorial Day weekend. It's here, and the Keiko Harbor Police Department wants to remind you as you are out and about, maybe you're in our community and you're staying home, or even if you're traveling and having some of the regular fun, you want to stay safe and make sure that this is a fun weekend. That fun doesn't happen without a lot of safety being kept in mind. They posted some reminders on their Facebook page about this time of the year to think about those that have sacrificed their lives for our communities, for our freedoms. That's what this weekend and what this holiday is, in fact, all about. But also, as it marks the unofficial beginning of the summer season, we'll start to see more people out on the lakes, out on their boats, out on other vehicles like ATVs or dirt bikes, or out walking and cycling throughout the community. And with that also comes, this time of the year, a lot more consumption of adult beverages, and those don't match with all of those other activities. You want to be very responsible. They're called adult beverages for a reason. You drink them as adults when you're responsible enough to handle them and make good decisions. So hopefully most of the people in our community, if not all the people in our community, will be making good decisions this weekend as they recognize Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully, as the Keiko Harbor Police encouraged, take some time to think about those that we lost along the way.
Tyler, we actually talked to Lieutenant Brian Burwell, and he just gave us some boating safety tips, and specifically we talked about busy weekends, busy holidays like Memorial Day weekend, like the 4th of July, etc., because we know that's when times get crowded, especially if the weather is perfect, which I think we may expect. So great information just to be aware of, just to be conscious of. There will probably be a lot of traffic everywhere. So just be conscious, be mindful, be responsible. We all want to have a great Memorial Day weekend. Yeah,
I'm gonna take a wild guess here and say that the sandbar on Cass Lake probably going to be chock full of people this weekend as we get that unofficial start to the summer. And hey, hopefully if you have any interactions with Lieutenant Burwell from the Oakland County Sheriff's Marine Patrol Department or any of the other Marine Patrol Division individuals from the Oakland County Sheriff's, it's good interactions, and that comes with good decisions. So keep that all in mind. Plenty more safety tips from the Keiko Harbor Police Department are on their Facebook page, Keiko Police on Facebook. As we recognize our veterans that we've lost this weekend, we think about those that are still with us in our community as well, and their need for support not only from ourselves but from others. And in the city of Sylvan Lake, not only do they seek that care from their friends and their family and their community, but from each other, from other fellow veterans across the local area. Reporter Peyton Skyver has the story.
When it comes to veterans, it can be hard to try to find someone who shares the same experiences as they do. But the good people of Sylvan Lake are working hard to bring together a community of those who served. The monthly Veterans Coffee event took place right here at the grill off of Orchard Lake Road. It allowed veterans to come together to share a meal, share some memories, and form a tight-knit community.
So we've been together having meetings monthly for about 2 years. What we do here in Sylvan monthly is get together for coffee and camaraderie and talk to each other about different situations we may have encountered and how to navigate different organizations to get assistance. We try to hold it at different locations. Today we're at the Grill, but we've also been at Evolve, and we may be going to Dunkin' Donuts next month. And so we are happy to support different businesses within Sylvan Lake at the same time that we get together.
So what does this event mean for you personally?
Well, as a veteran, it's nice to be able to connect with other veterans. I have a lot of friends here in different things that I do, but it's nice to reconnect with my own military past through and sharing that with veterans who have their own stories.
In the military, we talk about covering each other's backs, and that's true, whichever branch it might be. So it's good coming here and hearing some stories. You know, we all have our own story to tell. It's completely different, where you served, what you did. And the nice thing about it, you get to meet your neighbors, you know. Sylvan Lake and Keego Harbor is small communities. And you see the same people often, the same faces, but when you get together like this, you think, wow, this guy was in the military. So it's a bond.
The Veterans Administration is a big labyrinth organization, and there's, without knowing where to go, where to start, who to talk to, by having vets here who are experienced in dealing with that, it helps point the vets who haven't experienced it yet, when they want to go through that, where to start. So that's really the big thing.
Veterans are unique people. There's not a lot of vets, most vets are Vietnam vet like me. I'm 80 years old. I mean, we're dropping like flies, and you might not see these guys tomorrow. So it means a lot to keep in contact. You know, it's a brotherhood, and everybody's loyal to everybody. And it's just a good thing, because you got a backup. You know, you have to have a backup. When I was sick, I had people looking for me, taking care of me, and besides my family, were the vets. So it's very important to be part of a community.
These veteran coffee events will be held monthly at different locations, so be sure to check out the Spirit of Sylvan Facebook group for where and when the next event will be held. With Civic Center TV, I'm Peyton Skyver.
Appreciate the report, Peyton, and appreciate all the work that's been put in to get these veterans together in the community over the past 24 months. Yes, 2 years of these. This began right around Memorial Day weekend just a couple of years ago, and as they were thinking about different activities that they can do in Sylvan Lake for our local veterans community, and this has become a big event. They've even invited in some veterans from outside communities as well over the years to join in on this group and get to know some of our locals that have also fought for our country.
That is a great, great thing. I love seeing that type of event for our veterans, man. Like I said, these are the men and women who served our country, you know, went out and fought in wars and been in situations to protect our country, to protect our rights that we live and enjoy every day. And some of us we aren't even brave enough to do it. I'll say it myself, I'm not brave enough to do it. So I definitely want to honor all of those. And I'm glad that they have the safe space to meet up and do things like that. One thing that stood out to me, Tyler, I have to do stuff like this. We pronounce it, or at least I do, veteran, and Peyton did too. But I heard some of the vets pronounce it veteran. How do you pronounce it?
I kind of jump between the two. It depends on the moment, Kevin. I'm off the top of my head, I don't have a specific pronunciation for it. Now that you're saying it, I'm a little self-conscious about it, which is why I'm avoiding saying the word, because I'm going to say it one way and you're going to be like, all right, there's your answer. But nonetheless, we will recognize those that we've lost in service of our country over this weekend and on Monday.
Absolutely.
And if you have a chance to go down to the Sylvan Lake Parade, which will be around 11:30 on Monday. You may be able to talk to someone like Kelly Krause or Kathy Robbins and learn more about this monthly event. Keep up to date with it also on sylvanlake.org. garage.org. Kevin, Memorial Day weekend is also garage sale weekend in the Tri-Cities in Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake. Both of their citywide garage sales are already underway. Keego's runs now through Sunday, leading into the Memorial Day holiday, and then Sylvan Lake, theirs runs around the same time. That ends, however, on Saturday. So when you're done shopping in the prettiest little city in Michigan, and maybe you want to continue on and look for some more good finds, go right next door to Keego Harbor, and you'll find even more all the way through Sunday. You can learn about both of these garage sales for Keego Harbor on keegoharbor.org or on Facebook at KH Parks. And for Sylvan Lake, visit sylvanlake.org for more information on this and other events in the prettiest little city in Michigan. Kevin, not only a great way to find some interesting finds, maybe some little gifts and trinkets or decorations for your homes, but also to meet some of the neighbors.
I know, yeah. First of all, it's a great time to get outside. Let's just, any excuse we can use to get outside, come on, let's use it, people. It's starting to warm up. We love when the spring and the summer is here, but it always feels like the shortest season of the year. So that means we have to take advantage every day. And let me tell you, I'm literally looking at some stuff in my basement, a Nintendo 64. I want this Mario 64 game. And you probably only get stuff like that at either garage sales or like little trade events or whatever the case may be. So you never know the gold you'll find at garage sales, man. So I encourage everybody to take advantage.
Yeah, fun stuff happening in both Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake. Keego Harbor, again, their citywide garage sale began on Thursday, runs through Sunday, and then in Sylvan Lake, theirs runs through Saturday. So get out there this afternoon, this evening, and throughout the weekend for a little bit of shopping with your neighbors in the Tri-Cities. Close to home here in West Bloomfield, the Oakland Together 40 Under 40 was announced earlier on this year. We've had a chance, Kevin, to talk to multiple members of this year's 40 Under 40 class, of which 10%, 4 of those members are from right here in West Bloomfield Township. On Thursday night, the Oakland County celebrated their 40 Under 40 in an event at the Iroquois Club in Bloomfield Township. And earlier on this week, West Bloomfield recognized their 4 of the 40 Under 40 at their township board meeting. Here's their resolution.
Whereas West Bloomfield Township is a large community within Oakland County and is proud to have 4 of our local residents selected as part of the 40 Under 40 class of 2024. And
whereas Yulia Malayev, Mike McKinstry, Lydia Michael, and Dev Oza are West Bloomfield residents and members of the honored 40 Under 40 class of 2024. And
whereas our West Bloomfield honorees have exemplified strong leadership and commitment within their respective fields, providing solid representation today and for a bright future. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the West Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees wishes to congratulate our West Bloomfield resident leaders who were recognized as members of the Oakland County Executive Oakland Together 40 Under 40 class of 2024.
Here they are, those 4 members up front: Lydia Michael, Dr. Dev Oza, Dr. Yulia Malayev, and Mike McKinstry, the 4 of the 40 Under 40 from the Oakland County Executive's Office for 2024. You can learn even more about their accomplishments, why they're on that 40 Under 40 list, and what they're doing that's so impressive right here out of West Bloomfield by visiting oakgov.com/40 Under 40 or follow them on Facebook at oakgov. Kevin, really impressive stuff again this year. A large sum of the 40 Under 40 coming from West Bloomfield Township.
Representing for WB. That is a great thing to see. I will say that, man. Even some familiar faces that we've had on the show. So that's always good. And man, that's one of those bucket list things for me, man. I want to make the list doing something that I do, like, I don't know. I'm just not great enough, I guess. But so I just got to honor and respect those who do make that list, man, because I respect your accomplishments so much. And obviously the people in the community respect it so much that they want to give you the recognition. So congratulations again.
Yeah, big congratulations to all 4 of them. Recognized by the Township Board on Monday, recognized in Oakland County over the past several months. And that's after last year, when I believe last year we had 3 of the 40 under 40. So for this year, West Bloomfield continues to have a massive impact among younger people in our community in both business and beyond. Kevin, did you know that Thursday was World Turtle Day?
I did not.
Well, now you do know, because it was World Turtle Day. West Bloomfield Parks celebrated that with some, of course, interesting information about some of these creatures from our local nature. Posting this image on their Facebook page at WB Parks with some helpful information, some interesting information about one of the more familiar forms of turtles in our community, the snapping turtle. Now, the snapping turtle is can live for up to 30 years, but only 1% of snapping turtles reach the age of fertility, and when they do, they usually will live for about 30 years in total. But they lay a lot of eggs, Kevin. They have a lot of babies. These snapping turtles, one female snapping turtle will lay a clutch of 20 to 40 eggs every single year. So when you see these full-grown snapping turtles, you know they've endured some pretty substantial odds to make it to the point that they're at, and they'll probably be around for a while. Really cool information on World Turtle Day from our friends at West Bloomfield Parks.
One thing we've always learned about turtles, man, slow and steady wins the race, man. That is a good lesson to take just in life in general. Just take it easy, take it slow, no need to rush. And, you can be here for a good time and a long time. So all respect to turtles. My roommate had a turtle once. It takes a lot of care, a lot of maintenance to take care of a pet turtle, man.
Yeah, we want to respect the turtles also. If you see these turtles around, especially the snapping turtles, try your best to keep your distance and let them be, because especially the snapping turtles, they will get aggressive. That was something, Kevin, when I was in elementary school back in the old days at the old Lone Pine Elementary on Lone Pine and Middle Belt. We had a lot of snapping turtles there, to the point where sometimes when we would have recess, there was this big hill that went down to the soccer fields and another set of playgrounds. They would tell us, no, you can only stay up on the top level by the school, because the snapping turtles are out and about, and we don't want, of course, to have kids and snapping turtles mixing together on the playgrounds during recess. So we know we have a lot of those around our local area. You'll probably see some turtles if you're looking out for them, and really cool stuff, as always, from West Bloomfield Parks. If you want to learn more about some of our local nature, our local creatures, plenty of opportunities to learn with the West Bloomfield Parks naturalists and their programs, all of which can be found on wbparks.org. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. There's plenty to get to on today's program. Lots coming up as we bring you into Memorial Day weekend. We'll take a short break and come back with more on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM alongside Kevin McIntosh. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for joining us and for following along on our social media, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and YouTube at Civic Center TV. Kevin, not only are we recognizing many of those that have served our country this weekend, all throughout this week, we've also been recognizing those that serve and protect us each and every day, particularly those that work in EMS.
Yes, it's EMS Week, Emergency Medical Service Workers Week. We are recognizing them, and more specifically, 50th. This is the 50th anniversary of EMS Week, which was implemented in 1974 by President Ford. So there's no better time than now to actually have on the Splash Live someone who is representing for EMS right here in our local community from the West Bloomfield Fire Department. We have EMS coordinator, Captain Gary Proctor, joining us on the Splash Live. Thank you so much for joining us, Captain.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Absolutely. So we're dealing with EMS Week, 50th anniversary more specifically. And trust me, as someone who knows someone who works in EMS, I know that there's a lot that goes into it. I want to go into your personal interest with it. What inspired you to even get involved with the EMS portion of everything and then eventually become EMS coordinator?
So for me personally, it was kind of a happy accident, if you will. Got out of high school, didn't know what I wanted to do, made some friends in college, said, hey, you should look at the fire department. That's kind of where it all started for me. Plus, I'm old enough to remember the old TV show Emergency with Johnny and Roy, so that kind of helped too. So
okay, so that kind of sparked your interest straight out of high school, essentially, kind of going into the fire department and then eventually emerging into the EMS side of it, or were they always combined from the beginning, firefighting and EMS?
In a lot of places, they were always combined. Not always the case, though, however. Even here locally, for a while, it was kind of separated. For the West Bloomfield Fire Department, it wasn't until the late 70s, early 80s where they kind of integrated together. And it's just kind of stayed that way. But in some places, it still is a separate entity from the fire department.
Got you. Completely understand that, too. So what is the role of EMS coordinator specifically? Why is that different? How is that different from just being a regular EMS worker?
So I supervise all of our paramedics here at the department. I'm responsible for their licensure, the care that they give to our citizens and visitors, and that making sure that all of our equipment is functional and up to date, and that, which is a challenge nowadays with everything still from COVID and that being backed up, as well as the department licensure and that. And making sure that our crews are supported the way that they need to be. So
good, absolutely. And we need someone to kind of coordinate. It makes sense, but I wanted you to break it down. Coordinate everything that's going on. I'm pretty sure we get a lot of different calls, a lot of different situations that you all have to respond to. Now let's talk about that, because one perspective from EMS workers that I speak on a lot is what you all see. You are literally first responders to any and all situations that are emergency wise. So can you just talk about kind of like going through your daily tasks and activities and kind of separating what you see? I guess I'm trying to be careful with my words, but what you see with your regular life, like separating, let's just put out there the trauma, the dramatic things that you see.
Yeah, so fortunately, it's not like the TV shows where you see trauma all the time. EMS really isn't quite like the TV shows like to make it out to be. Our crews, their day typically starts out, they come in the morning, they check out their equipment, their truck and that, and then the calls that they experience throughout the day can vary. Anything from somebody who just needs the simple task of helping them get up off the floor, because they slipped and fell and aren't really hurt in that, all the way to, we do occasionally get some pretty traumatic accidents in that. Fortunately, here in West Bloomfield, we don't see a whole lot of things like that. We do see a fair amount of what we call high acuity medicals in that. So things like the heart attacks, the strokes and that, and cardiac arrests and things like that, which are pretty typical in a community like ours, especially with elderly demographic that we have here. So
Correct. Correct. Okay. Thank you for providing that insight and that perspective. Right. So just to paint that picture of reality, that it's not what we're seeing on Fox with 911 and crazy situations and accidents. It's a little bit more on the calmer side, even though you still deal with any and everything in between, but it's not as dramatic as we may see on television or in the movies or something like that.
Yeah, it's not every time the alarm goes off, it's not one of the traumatic high events.
And that's good, though. That's good. I'm actually happy that that's the situation. Join us right here on the Splash Live from West Bloomfield Fire Department EMS Coordinator Captain Gary Proctor, just talking about the 50th anniversary of EMS Week, been established and implemented since 1974. Even though you all aren't dealing with some crazy dramatic situations like that, I imagine there are still some challenges that EMS workers do face. Could you speak to some of the challenges that you all face and how you address them?
Yeah, so some of the challenges that we face, especially here in our community, we have the challenge of language barrier because we do have a very diverse population in our community.
Okay.
That can be a challenge. And everybody is aging. None of us are getting any younger, obviously. So the request for services just keep increasing all the time, which makes it challenging sometimes. So, for example, when I started here in West Bloomfield, we averaged 10, 12 calls a day throughout the entire department. And now it's not uncommon to have a 30, 35 call average day all the time. The majority of those being EMS related calls. So it can become very challenging with that.
Yeah. And that is a direct reflection of the community, essentially, and the demographics of it, how we're, the community is getting a little bit older now. So, yeah, you are starting to hear and deal with a little bit more of those situations. So I completely understand. It's part of it. But, essentially, what I want to get to is how can the community, members of the community like ourselves, what can we do to support our EMS workers and possibly make your job a little bit easier?
So the support we get from the community is awesome to begin with.
Okay.
Everybody's very supportive of us all the time. I think one of the things that people can do to make our job a little bit easier, not just here in West Bloomfield, but everywhere, is know when to call 911 and that, what is an emergency and what might not necessarily be an emergency. Some people, they don't have any other option other than 911, which is fine. That's what we're here for. We're here to provide that service and help any way we can. But really knowing the difference between when to call 911 for an emergency and that is really important. And the other thing is to keep in mind is for people not to wait to call 911 as well. It's not uncommon, especially in our older community, in that to have them wait a little bit longer because they think, oh, my problem's going to go away. I'm going to start to feel better. And it just gets worse for them, which can be a little bit of a challenge for us to get them to definitive care and get them the help they need.
Good point. And that's why we have you here too. So lastly, before we go, anyone who's watching, listening right now, considering a career in EMS, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them it's an awesome career to get into. It's been the most fantastic part of my life. But know going in that it's not like the TV and the movies and that. But no, it is rewarding that every day you go out there and make a difference, even if it is for the person who just slipped and fell and needs help up off the floor. To them, that's an emergency and they need that help. And they're very appreciative. And that's an awesome feeling. If you're looking to get into it, explore your options early. We're always doing ride-along opportunities for anybody who even wants to find out more about the career in that. So all you have to do is contact us and we're happy to set something up so they get an idea of what it's like to be in the fire service or in EMS. So.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that was a real thing, a ride along. I thought that was a movie thing. So that is actual thing right there. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and we get quite a few high school students who reach out to us about ride along. So it's pretty cool.
Right. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Please reach out to the fire department if you are interested. Thank you again from the West Bloomfield Fire Department and EMS coordinator, Captain Gary Proctor, joining us on the Splash Live. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tyler, that was an interesting talk having with Captain, man. Talking about, especially the ride along part at the end. I saw movies talking about ride-alongs and just going on, but I was like, man, that's just movie stuff. I didn't know you can actually do that. And I think that's a great experience for people to actually see firsthand what EMS workers right here in our community does, Tyler. So thank you to all our EMS workers. Happy 50th EMS week anniversary. And yeah, it's great that we get to celebrate them, Tyler.
Celebrate them too by going to the West Bloomfield Fire Department Facebook page, facebook.com/WB Fire Department. They did make a post about this earlier on this week. So, hey, if you have some stories about good interactions you've had with the West Bloomfield Fire Department and the ways that their EMS or other local EMS workers have supported you and your family and your community over the years, this is a great time to go ahead and go to their Facebook page at WB Fire Department and tell that story and thank them for what they've done for our community and help them celebrate the 50th EMS week across our nation, and thank them as well for all of their service as you see them out and about across our community on this Memorial Day weekend. Kevin, coming up also a lot of fun in the community as we also recognize the Michigan Jewish Family Festival coming back over the Memorial Day weekend, May 26th. It's going to be happening from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Plenty of fun activities, games, and even more happening at this event. And joining us to talk about it in even more detail is Rabbi Yishai Alifia on today's edition of the Splash Live. Rabbi, thank you for being with us.
For inviting me.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this this festival because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking through your website, seeing all the different activities and all the fun stuff that's going to happen. But let's go back to the start about putting this festival together. What inspired the creation of the Michigan Jewish Family Festival?
Yeah, so the festival is actually in honor of a particularly under-recognized Jewish holiday known as Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer stands for the 33rd day of the Omer, which is between the Jewish holidays of Passover and Shavuot. We're counting the days between, and the 33rd day is called Lag BaOmer. That's a very significant day in Judaism for two reasons. The first reason is because on that day, it celebrates the life of a great Jewish sage by the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a very, very prominent Talmudic sage, and he was well known not only for his legal and Talmudic wisdom, but also for authoring the Zohar, the text of the classic texts of Kabbalah, of Jewish mysticism. And he was one of the first people to really teach and bring out these mystical secrets of the Torah, where, the inner dimension, the spiritual that's behind everything that we do. And on this day, it was actually the day that he passed away. And on that day that he passed away, he instructed his disciples to mark this day as the day of my joy. As the Hasidic masters explain, that the day of a passing of a righteous person, that marks the point where their entire life's work, all their deeds, their teachings, their work comes to its perfection, and it is able to impact all of our lives. So the way we celebrate this is by marking this day in a very celebratory way, in a joyous way, and really identifying with who we are, with Jewish pride, with celebrations, with outings, with parades. And it really symbolizes the inner dimension of our soul, of who we really are as a people, who we are as a Jewish people, and our unity. The second event that Lag BaOmer commemorates is another event that took place in the Talmudic era. Between the two holidays, again, of Passover and Shavuot, there was a great plague and epidemic that broke out amongst the disciples of the great sage Rabbi Akiva, who was actually the teacher of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And the reason given for that is because the disciples did not act respectfully towards one another. They were expected to be held by a very high standard of respect towards one another. In fact, their teacher Rabbi Akiva was the one who one of his main teachings is that loving your fellow is one of the most greatest principles of the Torah. And his disciples didn't live up to that standard. So unfortunately, there was an epidemic and many of them passed away. But that plague ceased on the day of Lag BaOmer. So Lag BaOmer became a celebration, a day when we commemorate the disciples of Rabbi Akiva, and we work on having more love and more respect for one another, which this is the theme that Rabbi Akiva taught, this idea of Ahavat Yisrael. So because of these two reasons, Lag BaOmer is a very festive day, a very joyous day. In Israel, there's usually, unfortunately not this year, but usually there are about 500,000 people that visit Rabbi Shimon's resting place in the north of Israel in Meron. Unfortunately, this year, because of the danger with the terrorist organization Hezbollah, has been recently, shooting lots of missiles towards that mountain. The Israeli government didn't allow large gatherings like usual, but that actually brings out another reason why this year in particular, it's even more important for us to continue the celebration and to celebrate with even more joy and to bring out the idea of Jewish unity. Because, when we're feeling a lot of hatred now in the world, there's a lot of anti-Semitism. It's coming out not only in Israel and around Israel, but, all over campuses in America. And there's a lot of people scared and not sure what to do. How do we deal with this? And our approach is that we have to come out to show our strength, show that we're united as one and we're proud to be Jewish. We're not going to back down. And that is for this reason, every year we have a celebration for Lag BaOmer. But because of the current climate, we decided that this year we have to do it even a greater scale, much greater than ever before, to bring out this idea of Jewish unity, the whole community coming together in such a wonderful way, and to celebrate at large, to show that we're proud and we're united as one.
Joining us on Splash Live is Rabbi Yeshaya Lifia from Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan as they get ready for the Michigan Jewish Family Festival. That's happening on May 26th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just behind the Franklin Community House on Carroll Avenue in Franklin. And you mentioned, Rabbi, the sense of unity and celebration. And you even mentioned some of the reasons why this year in particular that form of celebration may be even more important. So how does a festival like this, with all these different activities that you have on hand, how does that help to capture that moment of that sense of unity and celebration best, and why you ultimately have that be what's featured at the Jewish Family Festival?
Yeah, the terrorists, they have one goal in mind. They want to terrorize. They want to put fear in the hearts of everyone. And our response is that we're not going to back down. On the contrary, we're going to be stepping up stronger and more united. And this is the way to do it, by showing that we're happy, we're not going to be fearful, we're going to be joyous, we're going to have a big celebration, and we're going to come together as a community to celebrate our Jewish identity, our unity with the entire people. I want to just point out this festival isn't only for Jewish people. Everyone's invited, the entire community is invited to come join us and celebrate. And we have a lot of fun things planned for all ages, from adults, for children, for teenagers. We have college kids coming from Lansing, from MSU, from U of M. And we're really coming together as a community to celebrate who we are. And it's going to be a wonderful celebration, God willing.
You can find more information on the Michigan Jewish Family Festival on their website, jewishfamilyfestival.com. Rabbi, you mentioned that there's going to be a number of these activities. We've talked about that already. We've teased it a little bit, but let's get into some of the details. People want to know what they're going to have fun out there doing. So take us through some of the fun stuff and activities that will be available.
Yeah, so first of all, we're having from 3 to 5 p.m. is where all the activities are taking place. We're having a number of rides. There's a Pirates Revenge ride, and a Dixie Twister ride. It's like swings. We're having a laser tag. It's a huge inflatable laser tag that's going to be out there in the park, and it's going to be like indoors. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We have this gigantic 105-foot obstacle course, a number of inflatable challenges, like a bungee run, where you're attached to a bungee cord and you have to compete against someone to get to the other end first. A wacky coliseum where you're jousting, to knock the other person down. Safe archery. Archery is actually traditionally associated with the Lag BaOmer. It's one of the traditions. So we're having it in a very safe way. where it's a big inflatable, and you are shooting a target with a very soft end at the end. I'm having a giant slide, pony rides, horse rides, petting zoo, a lot of different bounce houses. We're having some face painting and balloon twisting going on. A touch-a-truck for the toddlers. I have a lot of things for youngsters as well. For toddlers, touch-a-truck. And some of the inflatables are for younger children. We also have this beautiful little reenactment of the cave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, where he actually had to escape from the Romans for a number of years. So we're reenacting that, and the children were able to go inside this cave. One of the most meaningful parts of this celebration, actually, is the Franklin Art Institute, art studio, together with Chabad of Bingham Farms. They organized a beautiful brick house that was created by students in all the different schools, in Hillel Day School, in Farber Hebrew Academy, in Franklin Jewish Academy, and Babich Cheder and other schools, where children have been decorating these cardboard box bricks that are being put together as a beautiful, gigantic, 7-foot tall brick house that's going to be on display. And the children will be able to come inside and do a mitzvah. And this house represents our prayers for the safety return of the hostages and the soldiers that are in Israel to be able to come home, symbolizing this brick home that we're making together. So it's a beautiful way to have that on display, a message of prayer and coming together to do a mitzvah for the hostages and the soldiers. There's clowns. We have one of my favorites is a foam pit. We have this gigantic foam machine that spreads foam all over. The kids love running through the foam. That's all from 3 to 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., we're going to have a special prayer for a community prayer with a number of community leaders that are going to be leading us in a prayer for the safety of in Israel and around the world. Followed by the great marshmallow drop, and a shout out to DTE for coming with their gigantic lifts. They're going to be throwing down thousands of marshmallows, which will then be able to have a chance to roast them over a bonfire, which bonfire, by the way, is also one of the traditional activities associated with Lag BaOmer that we do. And then one of the climax is the BMX stunt show. So that's going to be very, very exciting. By the Franklin Community House. You can find out more information on the website. And we're really excited. There's a lot. I also forgot to mention we have Chef Carey's Kosher Catering. We're going to coming out with a whole assortment, a menu of different barbecue. It's Memorial Day weekend, so we got to have a barbecue, right? What's Memorial Day weekend without a barbecue? So we're having a barbecue. We have hot dogs, hamburgers, pulled beef, chicken poppers, and more. So you can actually, this afternoon, we're going to be closing the pre-registration. If you want to go online today, you can get discounted prices for both the wristbands and the food orders. And otherwise, you can just show up on Sunday and you'll be able to order your food from Chef Carey. Delicious food, I might add. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
More information, including how you can RSVP, can be found as we speak on JewishFamilyFestival.com. Rabbi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting.
Glad to have you on JewishFamilyFestival.com. Going to be a really fun weekend full of activities, games for the kids, activities, and of course good food out there as well, Kevin, which will certainly bring a lot of people out to this event. And again, JewishFamilyFestival.com will get people involved. As the rabbi said, anybody in our communities is welcome to go out there. And again, that's going to be taking place just behind the Franklin Community House, located at 26225 Carroll Avenue in Franklin. Kevin, a great way to celebrate this holiday, and then we'll also be celebrating plenty more holidays coming up as well, including what's been a big celebration in the past several years through the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force as we recognize Juneteenth in just a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Juneteenth in the WB 2024, the power of our stores. It's a family-friendly event, absolutely free, celebrating diversity and community strength. The event is June 22nd, 2024, 2 to 5 p.m. West Bloomfield High School. Join us here on the Splash Live to give us a little bit more details about that event. Member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, we have Vincent Kirkwood joining us on the Splash. Thank you so much for your time, Vince.
Hey, how's it going? No problem. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got a lot going on, man. I'm excited to talk about it. So first and foremost, we're in the third year, if I'm not mistaken, of the Juneteenth event. Can you just talk about a little bit of the history and the growth behind this Juneteenth event?
Absolutely. So it kind of is changing this year, the Juneteenth event. So the first 2 years, it was ran by the Social Justice Committee, and it was at West Bloomfield High School. Outside, we had a lot of face painters, food, entertainment, production, celebration of culture. And this year, it's changing a little bit. It's going to be held at the West Bloomfield Township Town Hall, the
Okay.
Recreation Activity Center. And a lot of those things are still going to be happening, just at a different location.
Nice, nice. So we're expecting a lot to go on then, right? So since we essentially changed the location, what about the activities and the different things that we are expecting there? Has any of that changed? Has it grown? Just talk about we're expecting that in that aspect.
Absolutely. So the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force is a combined effort between the West Bloomfield Parks and Rec Commission, the library, and the township. And what we're doing this year is going to have a celebration of Juneteenth on the campus of the West Bloomfield Township Hall. We're going to have music, we're going to have dancing, we're going to have an African drum group, we're going to have food, we're going to have face paintings, we're going to have workshops by Stephanie Kreider. We're going to have the library who is going to do a history of Juneteenth with several individuals. They have a performance, I'm sorry, not a performance, but a lecture, if you will, at 11 o'clock and at 1 o'clock, and both speak to the Juneteenth celebration, what it means. The 11 o'clock is more so for the children, and then the 1 o'clock is for the adults. But you're welcome to come to both events.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate that. Join us right here on the Splash Live, telling us a little bit more about the Juneteenth and WB 2024 event. We have Vincent Kirkwood, member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force. So let me just ask you personally, Vincent, what does Juneteenth mean to you? And why is it important to the West Bloomfield community?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And a lot of people still don't know exactly why we celebrate Juneteenth and what it is. So Juneteenth is a celebration of African Americans' freedom in America, if you will. So I'm going to give you a quick history on it. So I believe it was 1862 or 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. That freed the slaves in America. However, there were a group of slaves that were still in, I want to say, Texas, that did not know that they were free. So 2 years later, in 1865, they finally found out that they were free. So it was June 19th when it happened, 1865, and that is why we celebrate Juneteenth. It's a celebration of freedom for African Americans that were enslaved, 155 years ago or whatever it was. So that's why we celebrate Juneteenth, and we celebrate it with culture, we celebrate it with music, we celebrate it with food, we celebrate it with just an excitement around what we've done as a culture and who we are as a culture, and that's the meaning of Juneteenth.
Right, exactly. And that was no, and that was January 1st, 1863. Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, by the way, and it was in Galveston, Texas, where they said the last of the slaves were, and they were freed June 19th, 1865. Now that date is very oh no, please continue.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's why we're doing it on we're celebrating our diversity task force in West Bloomfield on June 19th. I think it was really important that we celebrate it on the day of. Now it's a Wednesday. Kids should be out of school.
Right.
And we're hoping that the weather cooperates, but it's going to be a day of celebration, a day of happiness, a day of feeling great. We're going to have I think it's called the Nanu Di Giapo African drum band. We're going to have dancing. I also want to mention that 44 Scoops, which is a new ice cream parlor right at the corner of 15 and Orchard Lake, they are going to provide free ice cream to all of us who are present. Henry Ford Hospital, West Bloomfield, is going to be heavily involved. They're going to help us with food and other things. The diversity task force is involved. The West Bloomfield Parks, West Bloomfield Township, the West Bloomfield School District. I mean, we've got so many great groups of people who want to celebrate Juneteenth on June 19th here in West Bloomfield. And I think it's really important that we do that because our community is so diverse. Our community is not one group. Our community is a mixture of a lot of different people, and that includes African Americans. So to celebrate in West Bloomfield is a great honor. I'm happy to be a part of it for the last couple years.
And no, absolutely. And I love this too. I love to speak on it too. Juneteenth was one of those days. Coincidentally enough, it's on my birthday, June 19th.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of those days where, since I was in elementary school, I always wondered what holiday falls on my day. So when I looked it up, I found out at a very early age what Juneteenth was. But then nobody was really celebrating it. So like, it seems like something significant, but people never celebrated it as big as it has been in the last couple of years. So that was one of those things where I learned about early, and I was wondering why it hasn't been as big, but now it's starting to be recognized a little bit more and things of that nature. And I'm glad we have this event because we just talked about the different cultures in the community and how they all celebrate their history, Juneteenth being one for the people of the Americans of African descent here in the West Bloomfield to also talk about. So thank you again for your time, Vincent. One last thing, please continue to give the details. How can people find out more? The date, the time, the location again, please.
Absolutely. So we're going to be celebrating Juneteenth in the WB on June 19th, starting at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to be at the main library meeting room. You'll hear from Mrs. Gwen. She'll tell us all about Juneteenth. It'll be followed by crafts for young people. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the history of Juneteenth, which is going to be brought to us by Professor Emeritus Whit Dykes, who will discuss the story and the legacy of Juneteenth. They'll elaborate on what I talked about briefly, but we're going to be at the West Bloomfield Township Hall near the rec center, the Recreation Activity Center. Again, free food, African drum, dancing, tattoos, face painting. It's going to be a great day of celebration for everybody in our community.
Great time, expecting some great weather too, and hopefully I can get out there, celebrate my birthday, and celebrate with you all too, man. Vincent Kirkwood joining us here on the Splash Live again, member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, talking about Juneteenth and the WB 2024. Thank you again, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Pretty dope, Tyler, to talk about that Juneteenth and the WB, all the different cultures within this community. It's very, very exciting to see everybody celebrating. It's exciting for us to even talk about and interview the members. So you want to find out more, go to wbparks.org/diversity to find out more about the Juneteenth event.
Yeah, it's a great place to go and also to get involved in the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, which manages so many different programs throughout the year to encourage diversity and inclusion in our community and get people together, get the many different cultures, religious backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds together in our community and get each other knowing their neighbors even better. And this is a great way to go about that with the annual Juneteenth event in the WB. Again, wbparks.org/diversity for more information on all these events all year round. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We'll take a quick break, then a little bit more of what's going on in your community over this Memorial Day weekend and beyond. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join our team as we highlight people and events that are making an impact in the greater West Bloomfield area. Catch us live Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, really cool story from the Bloomfield Hills School District. If your kids are in Bloomfield Hills Schools, specifically at Bloomfield Hills High School, perhaps they may be seeing double. That's right. A cool post from the school district celebrating a big time of the year under some special circumstances says, kids get ready to graduate from the class of 2024 at Bloomfield Hills High School. That includes 13 sets of twins and even a set of triplets. You see this photo on our screen on civiccentertv.com. That's their principal alongside all of these twins and triplets graduating from BHHS. They posted on their Facebook page at BH Blackhawks, quote, "This marks the highest number of multiple siblings in the same grade level in Bloomfield Hills schools history." And there they are on the big steps at Bloomfield Hills High School, taking up multiple levels of it with all of these kids all graduating together with their siblings. Pretty cool story.
That is crazy. We had some twins at my high school. We had a few twins at my high school too. And we had triplets. That's always crazy. That's so cool to have twins and triplets. And then I don't know, man. I've always wanted that, man. You know, just to experience that. You know, you just have a best friend like just right there. I'll be playing so many different games, but to have so many different sets of them in one graduating class is very, very interesting.
Yeah, again, 13 sets of twins and a set of triplets. That is a lot of siblings right with each other, graduating in the class of 2024, making that moment, I would guess, even more special for each one of them individually and for their families. Kevin, of course, it's Memorial Day weekend. There's plenty of fun activities happening across our community, but also want to keep you aware some of the services you're used to over the weekend are not going to be available. That includes the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. They want you to know they have special hours coming up over the Memorial Day weekend. The special hours are in place on Saturday, May 25th through Memorial Day on May 27th, with both the main library and the West Acres branch closed for the entirety of the Memorial Day weekend. If you need those books or other resources, don't fear. They're still going to be open all throughout the day today for their regular hours, closing at 6 p.m., but giving their staff at both of these branches a much-needed break to get out and memorialize our fallen soldiers from across the various branches of our military this weekend. Both branches will then reopen for regular hours and regular operations beginning on Tuesday, May 28th. So just want to let the people know that if they want to go to the library over the Memorial Day weekend, they can still go there. They just can't go inside.
Yeah, man. Good point. That was a good one. Thanks for reminding me too, man, because I feel like I'm probably not the only one who probably has some type of plans to go rent something from the library for the weekend or even go return something to the library for the weekend. So let me try to do that before 6 p.m. today, and also tell everyone else, tell a friend, library closes for the weekend, 6 p.m. today, opens back up on Tuesday.
Yeah, you can always keep updated with them on their website on wblib.org or on Facebook at West Bloom LIB for more information. Kevin, here's an idea for some activity over Memorial Day weekend, inspired by one of our local young optimists. Give back to the community. Do something of service to our local community and to help people out in Greater West Bloomfield. That's exactly what Zayden Clark and his dad did with the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor last week, Saturday. This was posted by the West Bloomfield School District earlier on this week. Here's Zayden and his dad with a couple members of Keego's Optimists going out on a cleaning mission on Orchard Lake Road between Commerce and Middle Belt. That's not a short hike, by the way. And they cleaned up a lot, collecting 9 kitchen-sized garbage bags worth of trash along the way. A massive cleanup effort from the small group out of the heart of the lakes. Impressive stuff, not only from Zayden, inspiring the next generation to be good stewards of the community, but inspiring all of us to do something good this weekend.
There we go. Talking about people that's taking their own time as adults and going out and doing stuff for the community, man. Cleaning up the trash along the road. That's some of the stuff that you'll drive past and judge. But at the same time, are you going to get out and do something about it? So we have to honor people like this, Zayden, for going out in the community. Zayden Clark and his dad going out there in the community and doing that, man. Congratulations. Thank you again. You deserve all the recognition.
Absolutely. And they deserve that thank you. You can give them a thank you in this post on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools. Finally, Kevin, as we get ready for the Memorial Day holiday, we think about all the events that are coming up as well. Plenty of ways to participate in Keego Harbor. They'll have their Memorial Day ceremony at 9:30 a.m. on Monday at the Memorial Rock, followed by the parade at 10. We'll have live coverage of that parade right here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. For those in West Bloomfield and in Sylvan Lake, live to tape coverage of their ceremonies. The Pine Lake Cemetery's Memorial Day ceremony will be at 9 o'clock on the corner of Orchard Lake and of Lone Pine and Middle Belt in West Bloomfield at the cemetery. And then Sylvan Lake will have their parade at 11:30, their ceremony at 12 noon. We'll have those recorded for you later on Monday on Memorial Day. Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll be back with new shows on Tuesday.